Hello. Okay, well, I was going to make this video outside, but it's got windy and it's got wet. And it looks like it's setting for the day, really. It's very, very overcast today. So we are indoors, rather than, I was going to sit in my egg chair and have a little swing and have a little chat. Not happening, I told you. Not happening. So here we are. Hello. That's not a steam train, that's my dog. Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about carnivore diet. So if you're a vegetable, if you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, then off you jolly well trot. Okay, so let me move this bag. Okay, so it's not going to be for everybody, this video. My videos are never for everybody, they're only ever for me. Comment if you like, don't comment if you don't want to. Up to you. So, I went to the doctors recently. I made a video actually, and I told you that I was 20 stone and 2 pound. Too heavy. Too heavy for me. So I decided that I would have to do something about it finally. It's very difficult when you start thinking about going on a diet, and bearing in mind I've never been on a diet. I've never needed to go on a diet all my life. I've always been super slender. Sort of. When you start thinking about it, you start thinking not about the positives, not what you're going to gain from it, not what you're going to get from it, not how you're going to see yourself in the future. You start thinking about what you're going to lose, and not weight, but you think the snacks, the crisps, the cake, oh, love cake, the chocolate, the biscuits, the sweets, the little treats, the little things in life that make life worth living. You've got to stop all of that. When you go shopping, if you go shopping, if you go to a shop and you just want a pint of milk or whatever, I would get a pint of milk and I'd come out with a couple of Belgian buns. Now they're just buns and they've got a little bit of fruit in and they've got some white icing on and they've got a cherry on the top. And they come in packs of 2. And I'm very grateful that they do. If I couldn't find them, I'd come out with 6. Custard filled, that's my favourite. Donuts. Would I eat all 6? Yeah, I would. I'd have a Slurpee. Oh yeah, cheers. I'd have a Slurpee with 6 donuts. Wow, that was really slurpy. Hot. So, I started to think about all the things I'm going to miss. Oh, I won't be able to have this and I won't be able to have that. I started to thinking about diets, and I've got a couple of friends that are doing this keto diet. It seemed a bit complex for me. I don't want to do anything that's... I want to lose weight, but I don't want to do anything much towards it. How sad is that? But you know what? I think we're all the same. We want to do something that's easy, sensible, and that works. That's all we want. Nobody wants to count calories. Nobody wants to think, oh, I can only eat this today or that today, or it's all crap. It really is, and it's too much confusion, I think. So I was looking around and I found the carnivore diet, and I started to look into that and watch a few videos. Very, very simple. Carnivore is meat. That's your diet. So anything that's meat, anything that comes really from an animal is reasonably accepted. So eggs, meat and eggs, that's the diet, but you could have a little bit of cheese, you could have a little bit of milk maybe. Anything really that comes from an animal. You can have some stock, perhaps, some broth. I don't have these things, but you know, you can have whatever you have. But what you don't have is fruit and veg. And that's funny because all your life you're told, you know, oh, red meat, that gives you a heart attack, and fruit and veg, that makes you live longer. Well, that's not factual. A lot of fruit and veg contains a lot of additional bits and bobs that we don't need, and they come out of our system as we put them in, so we don't actually need a lot of that stuff. As much as I like it, and one day I'll return back to it a little bit, I suppose. And we're told that red meat, obviously, everyone's going to die of a heart attack if you eat meat. That's what we're told. But it's not. It's what you surround the meat with. So a lot of people used to cook, I don't know, burgers or whatever in a bloody mountain of fat, or eggs in a mountain of fat. And there's no need, is there? Of course there's no need. And then with that piece of meat, you'd have chips, perhaps, cooked in fat. You'd have a couple of bits of bread and butter, tin of beans, And before too long, the meat element of it is very, very small when you think about it, with all the other additional things and all the fats that everybody's eating along with that. So I looked into the carnivore diet and went out and bought some meat and stuff like that. I love steak. I never ever get bored of steak. So it's not just steak. You can have whatever you like. But I initially went out, I bought half a dozen steaks and some nice sausages and belly pork slices. I love belly pork slices. And just a few extra things, really. And I started looking more into it. And they don't use, on this carnivore diet, they don't use herbs and spices, but they do use a little bit of salt. And I thought, oh, that's unusual. And then I looked into that, and they're using stuff called real salt. So I bought some real salt, and actually the difference between the salt that I would normally put on any meal, chips or whatever, and this real salt is completely different. Completely. I can't explain how it's different. Buy yourself some real salt, it's called. Tesco's, Asda, Morrison's, on the internet, real salt. So I started using that, and then still looking into it further, you can get smoked real salt. How wonderful. I haven't got any yet, but I am going to get some smoked real salt. That's going to be a treat, a really treat. And now you can add that to the cooking, that smoked real salt, or you can just put it on any dish at the end. And because it doesn't contain, the reason why there's salts and then real salt is a lot of the salts that we get, they're bleached. So they contain elements of ammonia or whatever they contain. And they contain other additives and life, expanding bloody chemicals and things. They're washed in various solutions that nobody's really aware of quite what they are. So we think of salt as being a natural product, and it should be, but it's not. The same as anything, isn't it? Same as anything. Turn your tap water on. What's that got in it? Who knows? So when we think of these things as natural, they're not natural. But if you get real salt and smoked real salt, imagine that. That's going to be lovely on a burger, on a little bit of a steak, on my belly pork slices. So I set about cooking a couple of meals and what have you. And I will put some photos on in a bit. This is why I say this video is not suitable for vegans, vegetarians, or anybody who doesn't like decent food. You have to go away and come back another day perhaps if you want to, or not. So I started setting about making some meals and what have you. And one thing I did read, and I took no notice of it, and I soon learnt my lesson, and it was to overcook. So to batch cook. So if you're going to do 4 burgers in your air fryer, there's still room in there for a steak and 2 or 3 sausages. Or if you're going to use the oven for some reason and you want to do, 2 steaks or whatever, put 4 in. Put a couple of sausages in that as well. Whatever, So I didn't really adhere to that. And I enjoyed my meal. I think I had steak, first meal was steak with Kerrygold butter. They all recommend Kerrygold butter, and do you know what? Butter has a lovely flavour. A little knob of that on a steak, on a piping hot steak. It lifts that flavour. The steak is succulent, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Kerrygold butter, proper butter. This is the other thing. I haven't bought butter for years, not proper butter. I buy some yellow cheap spread. Like, I can't believe this shit is not butter. That's what it's called, something like that, for about £1. Butter's very expensive. It's about £2.50 or whatever. But do you know what? The flavour of it is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. You can put it on anything. Put it on a sausage. Try it. Or cook. Excuse me. Cook with Kerrygold butter or Anchor butter or whatever butter you want. Really, I've got Kerrygold. But you can cook with it. You can lob that in the frying pan if you wanted to. You know. I've also bought beef dripping. First time in many, many years. And I also bought lard, and I couldn't get on with the lard. Didn't like it a lot, so I've slung it. That's why I bought the beef dripping. I looked for an alternative. The beef dripping is much cheaper. It's £2, well, £1.95. That's what I paid for it. So I bought 3 of them, and I bought 3 Kerrygold at about probably £2.95, something like that, or whatever, £2.65. I don't know what they were. So I'm cooking with other stuff and trying. It's all trial and error and what have you. But I've done some nice meals, and the mistake I made was I was only cooking what I was going to be eating. And on either the second or third day, maybe the third day, I was absolutely starving. I really was, and I got really hungry, and I thought, I'm going to have something. And so I went to the kitchen, and I had 2 packets of crisps. That's what I had. Which was a real shame because, you know, I've broken that, what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was about 30 days. I'm not holding myself responsible to anything because I'm still having the odd treat. I still have my Friday takeaway, thank you very much. And I'm not going to be a slave to a diet, never. As long as it's working, as long as I'm losing some weight and I'm feeling better, that's the most important thing. I don't mind how much I lose. I don't mind how long it takes. And I don't mind how long I do the diet for. So it's none of that, I must do this and I must do that and count calories. You know, I'm not getting into all that nonsense. So the third day, I ate a couple of bags of crisps and I learnt my lesson, and I thought, right, when I cook this evening, I'm going to do a steak. That's what I'm going to do. But I'll tell you what I did, and it was lovely. Pork shoulder, right? I bought, I think, about 4 pork shoulders. In fact, it was 4 pork shoulders. I thought I'll cook them. I might have them in one meal. All depends, really, how big they come out once they've been cooked. But while I was at it, I thought, why not do it slowly? Lob them in the oven. I'll do them in the oven, and then I can do a couple of burgers. I got about 12 sausages. I thought I'd do 12 sausages. They can go cold. I can wrap them in foil and put them in the fridge. The following day, if I wanted to, I could have a cold sausage or 2 or 3 or whatever, if I fancied it, or just ping them in the microwave or something and get something hot and do a couple of fried eggs with it. You know, it's a little mini meal at dinner time, isn't it? Itchy ear. Oh, I've got problems with my ears at the moment. But anyway, look at me going for it. So that was a lesson that I've learned. So if you're going to go on a carnivore diet, and I would recommend it, do what you like, but I would recommend it, do that, you know, batch cook a little bit. And also it's cheaper anyway, isn't it? If you're going to stoke something up like an air fryer or your oven or whatever, you know, put 3 or 4 lots into it. You can always freeze it, you can put it in the fridge, you can wrap it up in foil and have it later or tomorrow or whatever. Anyway, so that was that. So I carried on with it, and I found that I was eating enough to keep hunger at bay. And what I found was, what I thought was my craving for biscuits and sweets and especially chocolate. I've eaten mountains of chocolate since the year dot. I had no inkling to go and buy that because I don't have any in the bungalow whatsoever. I had no interest in it. And really no interest. And the reason why is because I'm full. I don't need to eat anything additional. It's now 10:31 in the morning. Obviously I've eaten nothing. I'm not a breakfast person, so I don't bother with that. And if I was, you'd have bacon and eggs. I did have bacon and eggs the other morning, well, sort of dinner time-ish. That's what you have instead of toast or cereal. Don't eat cereal, for God's sake. The rubbish in that. So I feel full enough not to be thinking or worried about chocolate, crisps, cake. I don't fancy eating anything like that, I'll be honest with you. Right now, I don't. No, I really don't. If somebody said, here's a chocolate bar, actually, I would refuse it. I really would, because I don't need it. I don't want it. I am full, even though I ate last night at about maybe 4 o'clock. It's 10:32 a.m. I'm full enough to say no thanks. I don't want it. I'm having a Slurpee, but I'm having no biscuits with it because I don't have any biscuits. And if I had biscuits, well, I wouldn't have biscuits. Why would I have biscuits? They're not part of the carnivore diet. So basically, I've been eating, my diet consists of just meat and eggs. And really, that's about it. So as I said, I had bacon and eggs. A typical day, there isn't a typical day, but on some days I've had bacon and eggs at about 12 o'clock, something like that. And then I have 2 meals a day, so bacon and eggs. And then later on, I might have a steak and 3 sausages, 5 sausages, something like that. I don't know. Whatever I fancy, And that sees me through so that I'm still full this time of the day, that I'm not thinking about anything. I certainly wouldn't want a supper after eating that amount of food in the evening. And if there's not enough for you, cook 2 steaks. They're cheap enough, really. Anyway, you can eat burgers, you can eat bacon, you can eat a joint of meat, whatever you fancy. Ribeye steak is very, very good because it's got a bit of fat content, so that's good. And a lot of people say, well, you don't get all the nutrients and all the vitamins and everything that you need from meat. Actually, they're liars, because we do. Cavemen did. And we do. Especially if you add on a little bit of fat. Cook your fat on your bacon and eat that. What I'm taking once a day, I'm taking these, just 1 per day, okay? Just a multivitamin, that's all, just to be sure that I've got enough things in me. I need to take them, so if I leave them there, I need to take 1 a day. I do that in the morning, then it's done. Okay, so on a carnivore diet, what I've heard, read and seen, if you watch the videos, is that people have less inflammation, they have more energy, and they lose weight. That's the 3 main things. There's other things that come into it. I'm on a diet to lose a little bit of weight. As I said earlier, I don't mind how much weight I lose. I'm not overly bothered. I don't really have a figure. I'm 20 stone and 2 pounds, so that's too heavy. But if I got down to 18 stone, 17 stone would be lovely. Imagine getting down to about 15 or 16 stone. Imagine. For my sort of size and height, I think maybe 15 stone. I don't know. What do you think? I think 15 or 16 stone, or even 17, I'd be happy with. But imagine, let's say it's 15 stone. That's not too thin, is it, for my height and my sort of bulk, whatever it is, my frame then, my figure. I don't think 15 or 16 stone, I think that's about right. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't really done any research on it, on what people weigh. But I can tell you this, I think I'm on 15, 16, 17, 18 days. I think I'm on 18 days. And I think tonight might be the 19th day. I think. We're either 18th or 19 days in. And this is what I did weigh. Let me show you this. This is what I took when I started this. So that's what I did weigh. And by magic, this is now what I weigh. So that's incredible. We're looking at possibly 18 or 19 days. 21 days would be 3 weeks. So we're looking at less than 3 weeks and I've lost weight. I can't believe that I've lost weight. I don't really look like I've lost any weight. Clearly things are tightening up and you know, things are looking a bit easier and a bit better and all the rest of it really. But anyway, I've enjoyed eating that. The question somebody asked me the other day on the phone, a friend said, are you bored of eating just steak? And I said, well, I don't eat just steak, but no is the answer. I would eat steak 7 days a week. I really would. I slow cook it, lob and knob of butter on it, lob and knob of butter, Kerrygold butter, and it's wonderful, it's lovely. And when I get my smoked sea salt, that would be wonderful, I think. It'd be absolutely lovely. And I could easily eat steak 7 days a week. I don't, and there's plenty of other options. If you wanted to, you could just have, if you fancied it, scrambled egg. If you fancied it. Or 6 fried eggs, if you fancied it. I bought a new frying pan. Not that there's anything wrong with my other one, but this one is smaller. I decided to go smaller because if you're going to cook one thing, I was on about batch cooking, but sometimes you want to do one thing like an egg. My great big frying pan, the egg was swimming around in it. What's the bloody point, you know? And you've got to heat all of that area. So I bought not a tiny one, but a mid-size one that you can put an egg in. It cooks nice and quickly. I can't remember the name of it. I'll put it on here. If I remember the name of it, I will do because I've got to go and wash up at some stage. So I'll find it out for you. And I got it from, this particular one I got from Asda when they delivered my, well, it wasn't a shop, when they delivered my meat haul, Haul. So I bought that because you don't need any oil whatsoever. And the second day I had it, I washed it up and what have you, and made sure it's all nice and clean, and then I put it on the top, and you can have it on induction or flame or whatever, you know, anything, gas or electric or anything. So I put it on there, warmed it up, lobbed 2 eggs in it, and they was cooked in no time. No fat, no grease, no butter, no nothing. Just love. Love and heat. They cooked me eggs for me and they were perfect. Absolutely beautiful and perfect. So anyway, that's it really, my carnivore diet. I'm going to leave you with some photos. In fact, we'll whack the photos on now. But to end this video, you're having a quick look at the photos. You could do anything you want. Anything that, you know, belly pork slices are wonderful, steak is wonderful, decent sausages, decent burgers, 100%. I've got a parcel being delivered, so Bodie might bark. 100% mince I bought the other day. Yeah, don't buy any cheap old rubbish. And you're thinking, the last thing, as you're looking through these photographs, you might be thinking to yourself, well, things cost quite a lot of money, and you're absolutely right, things do cost quite a lot of money, but I think you can eat on carnivore, I think you can eat cheaper than you can by eating rubbish. So if you had a handful of frozen chips, okay, I don't know, whatever, you know, some old meat pie for say your handful of chips was £1 and your meat pie was £2.50. There's £3.50 there, and then maybe a little tin of peas, say £1 or whatever. I don't know what peas are, but anyway, say about £4.55. A little bit of gravy, 50p. Whatever, and then perhaps a slice of bread and butter. So you're looking at maybe £5 or £6 or £7, something like that for your meal. Now, the steaks I buy, they're about £4. You can go down the butcher and you can have a look at what they've got, or you can buy them from the supermarket or whatever. But if I have a steak and I have a couple of sausages with it, well, I'll get 12 sausages for, I think, £2.50. So what does that work out as? I don't know, let's say £1 for a couple of sausages and £4 for the steak. So for the same price, for £5 or £6, I've got a good meal that I know what's going on in there. There's no sugar, no added salts, no nothing. So it's beneficial. It's got to be beneficial, And if people are losing weight, they've got less inflammation, they do feel more energetic, and they feel better within themselves, then surely that's a good thing. So give it a whirl. That's what I would say. And to end this, there was a little animation thing I saw, which was really good. And they said, walk into any supermarket. So you go into, I don't know, whatever, Tesco's, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, whatever. You go in there and you have a good look around. Okay, you've had a look around, and now they say, right, now take every single item away that contains sugar. And do you know what? The store is nearly empty apart from meat and a few bits of veg and a couple of other bits and bobs. It takes up about half a shelf out of about 30 shelves. The store is virtually empty. So these supermarkets and what have you, they sell sugar. That's what they're selling. 99% of the stuff they sell is sugar. We don't need it. And clearly, somebody like me with a sweet tooth, who loves chocolate, cake, etc., I don't need it. Don't want it. I've got no need for it. I'm full. That's all I want in life, is to eat a meal and feel full. So, carnivore diet, it's I love it. So far, I love it. I am new to it. It's only 18 days. I am failing. They say don't go to like a Chinese or whatever. Don't have your treats. Just stick to the diet. And I say bollocks to that. Take care then. And be well.